been a fucking jet engine for the past couple of years. But this will probably be my last rant on Destiny 2. I don't know. Recently, I've been posting just a ton of fucking rants and whatever. I'm not trying to turn this into a ranting channel. It's just this game makes me feel a certain kind of way. Um, yeah, but I guess this will be like I'll say final because honestly, I don't even think I'm gonna play Shadowkeep. I'm just kind of hey, but I wrote down some notes so I can actually know what the fuck I'm talking about and what was my train of thought. So I'm assuming whoever's watching this that you have a general idea of Destiny 1 or at least Destiny 2. So right now I'm just gonna go over the history of Destiny 1, issues with it, and then the history of Destiny 2. Talk about how the business model and the cycle is kind of similar. Talk about just general issues like exotic nerfs and balances for Destiny 2 and all this sort of crap. But all right, let's start it off with Destiny 1 came out September 2014. Launch was horrible. Nothing much to do. Uh, Not a lot of content. Gunplay was interesting. The raid was amazing, but not a lot to do. So, most people kind of left, right? So you mainly after Destiny, what is it? Destiny 1, or at least for the first couple months, mostly hardcore. I call them hardcore, or like, or not even veteran, but like people that were invested in the game were still kind of playing until Dark Below came out. I believe 3 months later in December. Add a couple mission story types. Nothing to write home about. Added a new raid, which I enjoyed. I know some people didn't like Crow's End because you could solo it, but I still enjoyed. And yeah, then there was nothing to do until March or April, which is when House of Wolves launched. And again, my memory, this has been like 5 years ago at this point, so my memory isn't the greatest. So around March or April, House of Wolves launches, has more story mode, or story missions, has a new game mode called Prison of Elders, which is by far my favorite game mode to this date. And stop making arrow noises. But it did not launch for raid, so people are upset about that. No raid. It did, however, I think Trials came out with House of Wolves, or it could be completely wrong. I didn't do Trials all that often, but some end game for some PvPers, right? Then here we are from March all the way back to September. I'm gonna assume April. I'm gonna say April to give them more leniency on the time. So April, and then all the way to September. So that's like what 5 months, almost half a year of nothing. And Taken King comes in here, wows everyone, and everything's all happy, and we can play the game again. New subclasses, everyone's happy. I think actually like 6 months, again another half a year is when the April update came out, which is just revamped Prison Elders, which means brought up to current light levels. Um, Had some new armor, which is just armor with taken effects. New sword, which is just a void sword called Dreadfang with bonus damage for its taken. Again, nothing really too much to do in the update, but it's something to do, right? Another reason to do. And then we come to Rise of Iron, which released a new raid, new enemies, Eve of Fallen, also Argos music. Then I don't know. Again, after Rise of Iron, my memory isn't too good, but we had Age of Triumph, which I'm not sure if that was year 4 or like a couple months after Rise of Iron, where they brought back all the raids up to current light levels, different armor stats, brought every raid weapon back, but all the primary ones like Fatebringer are now an exotic. So yeah, and that's basically the history of Destiny 1. Now, the main issue of Destiny 1 was that the way the content was released was very sparse and not a lot. Uh, Dark Below came out 3 months later, and people were desperately, like, people that were casual, people that were hanging on, needed, like, they wanted something to do. And Dark Below didn't really deliver. Again, like I say three story missions, but there was like a handful of story missions. Some of them were interesting, going invisible and sneaking to the Oversoul or whatever. Or wait, is that different? Is that like from some other mission? Whatever. The point is, a handful of story missions, and a raid. And the raid was alright. Some people liked it, some people hated it. But again, not a lot to do, so really sparse. And then, another content round of 3 months, 3 to 4 months. And we finally get House of Wolves, which doesn't offer raids, which sucks, but it offers trials, so people who like the PvP and live stream have something to do now. But again, not really much to do. Yeah, you have the Elder Cipher to get the new exotic. Like, of course, there's new exotics and stuff like that. But again, in terms of content, like replayable content, for Crow's End, you'd only really have the raids, and then for House Below, you'd have Prism Elders and Trials. So again, someone like me who was in a hardcore PvP or didn't really like Trials, didn't do much. I did love Prison Motors. I played it a lot. But again, a lot of sparse content. And Taken King, our Lord and Savior, the best expansion and all expansions. Saved everything, gave us quest systems, fixed everything, added new subclass. It was fun. I'll admit I did like Taken King, and I was hooked in for like the next 3 months until I got bored. And then Rise of Iron. Didn't by that time I wasn't really I was still playing, but not that much. But the point is what I'm trying to get at is that the way Destiny was set up, which I call Bungie geniuses for this, is that games of a service, its idea, it isn't that bad. The idea, because so we have this old model where you buy a game, comes out developed, DLC comes out maybe a year or two later. It's like an afterthought unless you're playing Call of Duty, which then they release skin packs like every so often. But for most games, DLC comes out one or 2 years later. It's an afterthought, essentially. To keep someone playing like the game just a little bit longer. But then ultimately, game ends, sequel comes out, play the next game, right? That's how the old model works. Games as a service is like, hey, you really want to keep playing this game? We'll keep releasing content that you keep paying for it. So you keep paying for more content, more experiences. Which again, doesn't sound that bad. That's actually genius. Like, what if you really like a game series, like, but you hate you hated it, you hate to see it go. You hate to see it all be over, right? So again, innately, that's not dumb. That's a good idea. But the way Destiny 2 or Destiny was set up is that the base game was so bare bones. Like basic features like quest tracking, just tracking in general, basic features were just missing from the game. And and then again, the reason I find it funny that people like Taken King so much, honestly, all Taken King did was give us a game that actually felt good, like that was decent and actually worked. Again, a quality of life improvement. Destiny is basically a game where you pay for quality of life improvements. And that's why I call Bungie geniuses, because I've wasted so much money on this game. I bought a PS4 just to play Taken King. And I remember Luke Smith saying, "Oh, you have to buy House of Wolves and Taken King again if you want to switch over to PS4." But then this fucking loser over here, faggot. I'm using faggot. I don't care. I can't just any other word won't do it justice. But this fucking faggot over in the Vidoc saying, "We want this game to be, but fuck off." Anyways, sorry I was getting on a tangent. But what I'm getting at is that Destiny is a game where you pay for quality of life improvements. And that in and of itself sounds really bad. Like, why would I pay for a game to be more playable? Isn't that just retarded? I thought I'm paying so I can play it more, not to make it playable as it is. But that's how it's been, and that's how all the updates have felt like. Just quality of life improvements. More so in Destiny 2 than Destiny 1. So again, Destiny 1 had fun times. Yeah, met my clan members, did all the raids, except for Master Machine. I never finished that one. But I had a grand time, right? Destiny 1. And then Destiny 2 starts coming out. And things are starting to come out that don't make any sense, that are starting to scare me. Like, for instance, it's the old system now, but back in the day, the new system was energy, kinetic, heavy. And if you didn't know, Destiny 1 you had primary, special, heavy. The thing with primary, special, heavy is that snipers, fusion rifles, shotguns, all count as special weapons. But in Destiny 2, they moved all those special weapons into the heavy slot, but they allowed you to equip 2 primers. So you could have like 2 hand cannons or a hand cannon, scout rifle, and then a sniper, right? And honestly, a pretty shitty system, and glad it took them a year to fix it in Forsaken, but I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. But then they revealed this, the whole entire perk tree. Again, I kind of wish I had Destiny 1 installed, but if you didn't know, Destiny 1 had and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not saying everyone used all these different builds. No, people gravitate towards certain builds. But you had, I think, around like 8 or 9 columns, right? You'd have a column for grenades, like this, but it's vertical. You'd have a column for your jumps. You'd have a column for your super, a column for your melee. You would have mobility, or yeah, I guess what is it called? Yeah, mobility, resilience, and recovery tied to these things called codexes that you could choose, like Codex of a Warrior or whatever, which give you max, resilience or strength or not strength, but max resilience but like low recovery. You can have a balanced one, whatever. But you had those two in a node. Then you had something that changed your neutral game, which, like, for instance, Golden Gun had like something called knife juggle. I think they brought it back. Yeah, the one that gives you back your refresh when you get a precision knife kill. And then your last slot was like, so, something extra, like Over the Horizon, which increases the actual Golden Gun, which means aim assist. I think it was Gunslinger's Trance or Chain of Woe is also in that one. Also, unfortunately, they got rid of Chains of Woe, but I mean Gunslinger's Trance. That's one. Again, Gunslinger's Trance with Chain of Woe is like the best thing ever. That's why Rapid Hit is the best perk ever. But yeah, so you had all these options to do whatever you want, right? And then in Destiny 2, for some reason, they what you call it? You only have 4 perks. And honestly, I'm gonna get ahead of myself, but I noticed that this game became more super centric. Like the perks of the subclasses really benefit the super more than the neutral game, like more times than not. Like for instance, let's look down at Way of the Sharpshooter. I think is that what that is? That? Yeah. So we have your melee. Oh, by the way, your melee counts as a perk block now. So that's 1 out of 4. Your okay, so melee. This affects your super. This affects your super, and this affects your super. Now this, I say affects your super, but the entire point is it builds towards your super. Like you know what I mean? These 3 perks are more super oriented than this perk. So again, this entire perk block is all about the super. And now you look at this, same thing. Again, this has a neutral game one, surprisingly, right? I think one of the only subclasses that actually has a neutral game thing. Now I'm talking too fast, well. But look, okay, neutral game. This is super super. So again, half of the perk blocks here are super oriented, and 75% of the perk blocks here are super oriented. So I just found that interesting. But getting back to the main point is that Destiny 2 launched with like very bland, very boring, lack of customizability, lack of customization. For instance, like these weapons. These are year 1 weapons. No random rolls, and then the perks they had were kind of mediocre at best. You know, all the weapons are boring. That's not any of D, but any of D, the submachine gun was actually meta at one point. You know, Crucible was slow, time to kills around 1 second. People just team shot at camp. Not really, not looking too hot. So again, you had this similar cycle to Destiny 1 where they kind of fucked up the base, or I guess Destiny 2 1 didn't have a base, but they kind of fucked up. They had the groundwork laid for them from Destiny 1, but for some reason they threw it all out the window. You know, people left, Luke Smith took over. I don't know why, but they threw it all out the window. So Destiny 2 launches again another bare bones game. You know, guns feel bland, exotics feel bland, and I'll get back into that why. That's a very important point too when it comes to exotic nerfs. You know, everything just feels bland. Even returning exotics, this used to guarantee 2 trip mine charges, and then they changed. This used to grant 2 trip mine charges in Destiny 1, but then in Destiny 2 it had if you hit someone with your trip mine grenade, you gotta track them for a little bit. But now this one just basically, when you get solar hits or solar ability hits, it regenerates you some grenade energy, and it increases the damage and blast radius of trip mine, which is actually pretty good. But anyways, like I'm getting at, is that this game became very bland. You know, even more bland than Destiny 1, because Destiny 1, at least you had like all those perks to choose from. You had, there's random roles to chase after. But yeah, that's base Destiny 2 sucks. Curse of Osiris comes out, story sucks ass, dialogue. I actually like you, Phil. Say someone tell me to shut up. I get the pun. Anyways, so yeah, Destiny, Curse of Osiris again, kind of like Dark Blood. People are like, finally a DLC to fix the game and make it more playable. You know, or release again weapons that can't be rolled. Even the prophecy tablets, this is a prophecy tablet weapon that you have to do stuff for, like get some radiolarian fluid or whatever, and then you got to build it in a forge, quote unquote, which you just hold down square. Yeah, no random rolls, which would be weird because you'd think a Vex weapon with a whole entire infinite possibilities theme would, have random weapon rolls because the reality's infinite or whatever. It's called the Infinite Force. Also, yeah, the Infinite Force, a thing that they hyped up, became a glorified loading screen simulator. And again, now it's just a drag to go through, honestly, other than like, oh, I can't wait to go into the Infinite Force. But again, story sucked, dialogue sucked. They really did Osiris dirty. A legendary warlock, fucking nothing more than a hologram that helped me out in a boss fight once. Sorry, spoilers alert. I know, I'm sorry. Been a year late to the party though, really. Curse of Osiris flopped. Not really good. Curse of Osiris released, I am assuming in December. Again, I don't really remember the timetables. And then I'm assuming Warmind released in April or March, like same time that House of Wolves released. So again, Warmind comes out better than Forsaken. I mean, sorry, not better than Forsaken, but better than Osiris. You don't have random rolls yet, but you have what you call it? You have Escalation Protocol, which I actually personally enjoy, but there's no matchmaking, so it's hard to get anyone to do level 9 anymore. But you had Escalation Protocol, Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention that Curse of Osiris had a raid layer, which is the love. I'll say this right now. I think raid layers are an interesting idea because the setting's interesting. The idea of a raid layer is that it all takes place on the same place you went to before in the first raid, but there's different areas that you couldn't explore yet that are now open to you, right? And I thought that was interesting because the Leviathan's this giant world-eating machine. There's all these different compartments. Again, it's as big as a planet, so of course it can be different raid layers, right? So I thought Argos was an interesting raid boss. Also, disclaimer: I never did any raid. I've only seen them. I think Argos looked interesting. I like his music at least. So yeah, people like the raid layer was pretty successful, I'd say. Valkaor, the new raid layer for Warmind, people liked it too. Some people said it was like kind of hard, but people liked it. Fever Simulant came back. Oh yeah, I gotta talk about it too. But yeah, what you call it? Yeah, Warmind was a lot better. Escalation Protocol, something new to do. Raid, something new to do. Whisper Mission, a secret dungeon, which was actually, again, one of my favorite missions in Destiny history, along with Zero Hour. Whoever made that is fucking amazing, like music-wise and like gameplay-wise. I just don't like the fucking take, and that's why I found it a little bit annoying. But still, a great thing. So again, you had a hidden exotic coming back, a fan favorite, Whisper of the Worm, but now it's in the heavy slot, right? So yeah, Warmind was pretty good. And then Forsaken comes out. And Forsaken's like Taken King 2.0. Finally, after a year, we get random rolls back in. And, we can actually have... They actually modified the system now. Because, again, back in the day, you can have a special weapon in the primary slot and the kinetic slot now. Like, I couldn't have this, the Chaperone in the primary. Chaperone used to be a solar energy weapon, by the way. But, yeah, I couldn't have Chaperone in the primary. It actually belong in this slot in Destiny 1. But, the point is, yeah, hold on, lost my train of thought. But yeah, Forsaken finished, fixed everything. Finally, everyone's singing Bungie's praises like they almost forgot that for some reason they removed all this shit that should have just been in the game from day one that they already had. But everyone's happy, I'm happy, story's alright, Rip Cade, I miss him. I actually loved using Ace of Spades in Destiny 1 because of the little cowboy flip. Sounded just like First Curse too, or I guess First Curse sounded just like it, but getting off track. Point is, finally, they added shit that we wanted. Private matches, things that were in the game from Destiny 1. Oh man, all this great stuff. I'm not even saying that sarcastically. I like the Dreaming City. I like the lore. Last Wish Raid looked interesting. Good stuff. Actual good stuff. Until the Season Pass popped up and saying, hey, you can spend $40 right now, or you can spend like 60 or 80, and we can give you this content that we're not going to tell you about yet, but we're going to release it every so often. Because I think they only revealed Black Armory like maybe during I think they did talk about Black Armory when Forsaken was launching, but they didn't tell you what Joker's Wild was going to be about, and they didn't tell you about Penumbra, right? So you're in the dark on that stuff. But yeah, so Season Pass comes, or Forsaken. I still play. I don't have a Season Pass. I still play a lot of Forsaken stuff, and it's actually good content because again, I've been more this game that Forsaken has kept me more afloat than Taken King has. So good to see you. But yeah, we have pursuit tabs now. We have pinnacle weapons, things to grind for, right? Finally, after a year, we finally got things that we've been asking for that have already been in the game. Congratulations, mission accomplished. Black Armory launches, not really well because light level. I have to talk about light levels too. Shit, let me write this down. I want to be really thorough so I don't have to talk about this any again, ever again. Sorry. Yeah, but the light level cap was too high day one, so no one could really play it. So people got upset, so Bungie lowered it. And then, again, I haven't played Black Armory, but what I've seen and heard from people I've talked to, you just basically grind a bunch of weapon frames. Like, you go to a forge on a planet, you have to unlock the forge first, but then you pick up a thing from Ada, you do a bounty, then you grind a forge, right, to get a weapon frame for, like, a weapon, like Kindled Orkin, which is like an energy hand cannon, or the bow or something, and it has random. Oh, also random rolls came back with Forsaken. So and it has random rolls, so you can keep grinding to get a roll that you want. And that's nice. Finally, a way to actually get something that you want. And I feel like the Menagerie improved on that too, but I'll get into that later. So finally, something to get a way for people to actually do what they want. But that's it. No new raid layer. No new nothing, just Black Armory and grinding forges, and then the hidden exotic Izanagi's burden, right? That's it. Joker's Wild comes out a few months later, right? After people have been dying of content. All it is, hey, I hope you like Gambit. Play Gambit. Gambit Prime. and then Reckoning. And you know, Reckoning looks interesting. Uh, Again, I just want another Prison Elder, really. That's all I want. But I will say this: the lore from Joker's Wild is actually very interesting. I won't spoil anything, but it's very interesting. The connection with Drifter and the whole entire Nine, very interesting. And yeah, that's all I'll say. And then now we have Seasonal Opulence. You know, for you who don't have the annual pass, you can try the Menagerie once and then you get kicked the fuck out. I haven't tried it yet on my alternate characters because by the way, Truth came back. So and to get Truth, you have to complete the Menagerie once this week, and I'm assuming like as long as you do it next week too or whatever, you can keep getting the quest up. So I'm thinking about being a little cheeky and see if I can pull it off on one of my other characters and see if I get the quest there. Because again, I looked at the quest episode. Another thing, and I don't think anything's after the Menagerie was just season pass restricted. I think all the other stuff goes to places you've been to before. So who knows? That's an idea to throw out there. But Bungie probably thought ahead of that and restricted it. But yeah, Menagerie. So now we're in the last. Oh, also, while all this is going on, Bungie broke up from Activision. So Season Opulence is the last thing before Shadowkeep comes out. It's been teased already, and they're talking about, oh, we're bringing all this stuff back, like bad juju, like discipline, strength, all this other stuff. And again, stuff that's already been in the game, or at least the previous game for a while, and now it's now being brought back for $40. And I understand that system change like that, like for the weapon system, will be universal anyways. But yeah, again, paying for stuff to come back. Wow, so nice. So yeah, that's a brief history of Destiny 1, Destiny 2. It has a cycle of you basically pay for not I say a better experience, but like and that makes sense. But I'm talking about like a bare bones, like to make it again quality of life, to make it more playable. Oh wow, I can finally use my sniper more often. Wow, I don't have to rely on heavy and it's animal economy shit anyway, so I didn't get any heavy anyways while running like 15 ammo finders perks. But yeah, so that's the history of Destiny 1, Destiny 2. So let me talk about. I'll just go into the whole entire exotic nerfs and crap. Or let me address the whole entire Bungie Activision thing. If you ever watch a person called Yang, yeah, he actually covered a video where he read out like letters and contracts between Bungie and Activision, talking about how Bungie was complaining to Activision, saying it's too hard to make content for Destiny 2 or for Destiny in general. We've never done anything like this before, which fair enough they haven't. They're saying it's too hard to develop content. We'd like to go towards more loot boxes. Oh, and I forgot to add that when Taken King came out, Eververse was introduced. I'm supposed to fucking talk about Eververse too. Well, I guess I already rambled enough on Eververse, but I'll just make that one brief. But Eververse came out of Taken King around in 2015, so it's been in the game for like 4 years now. So they're talking about we want more microtransactions, more loot boxes because it's too hard to make content. Activision's like, fuck it, whatever, do you. Again, they all Activision want is like, hey, make us fucking money, put some microtransaction in it, do whatever the fuck you want for your game, right? Do whatever the fuck you want. So, and then you can also look at, and on their hiring page, they actually had they were opening a position for a manager to oversee the whole entire loot box system or whatever. And again, they took it down, surprisingly, once word broke down. But again, if you don't believe me, look up Yang, yeah, look up his video, and then he'll link to the articles. So that's the whole entire, it's all Activision's fault. And I'll be completely honest, maybe everything wasn't revealed in in those contracts or letters, but again, the way Bungie framed in the Out of the Shadow bydoc, they blame that Activision was the sole reason why Destiny failed as a thing. And maybe somehow Activision kneecapped Destiny when it first came out. But after that, all the updates and all the Activision doesn't tell Bungie how to balance the game. Activision doesn't say, hey, you better nerf or buff X exotic. They probably don't even know what a fucking exotic is. So for all you people saying, oh man, this Activision was ruining the game with all these nerfs and shit, well, that's not correct, because again, Activision doesn't nerf or buff anything. It's all down to Bungie's discretion. It always has been since Destiny, at least since the launch of Destiny 1. So that's the whole entire. It's all Activision's fault, and that's why I don't like using the word skeptical, but I really don't trust their words, because again, they always release these vidocs saying, oh, everything's gonna be better now, baby. It's all gonna be good. It's our Destiny, right? And then they fucking release bare bones bullshit. But that's the whole entire. That's addressing the whole entire Bungie Activision split. No, it's clearly Activision's fault. So that's why. So let me talk about the exotics. So just like the base Destiny 2, the exotics of Destiny 2 base were just bland as fuck. Turn exotics, but none of them really stood out other than like Wardcliff Coil, stuff like that. I can't really think of any. And I'm gonna go through the base ones, and then I'm gonna go through the DLC ones, like Curse of Osiris one, right? Sweet Business, Sturm, Might of Multi Tool, Rat King. I don't have Rat King because I'm a lonely boy. But okay. And also, I don't have all the exotics either, because some of these are rare exotics, some of these are like season pass, like Last Word and Thorn are up here. Um, but yeah, so Sweet Business. It see this I'll say this too. For me, an exotic doesn't have to be good to be like an exotic. I feel like an exotic should be unique enough for something to be like, because the way Destiny 1 was for me, I could hear a sound of any exotic, or you could read me a quote of any exotic. Like literally, my friend Aiden would literally just read me off quotes and be like, "Oh, what armor piece is that?" or "What exotic piece is that?" And I could tell you instantly. But that's how much I love this game, or used to, anyways. But for me, exotic has to be unique enough where if you even hear the sound or something, or you see something like, "Oh yeah, I know it's that exotic." No, that's an exotic. Yeah. Oh, that sound. Oh, that's the last word in the distance. Stuff like that. Something unique enough. It doesn't have to be strong, but being strong is also some exotics are exotics because they're strong, right? So you have Sweet Business, which I classify this as a fun exotic. It's not really good. Again, they want you to hip fire, and hip firing on console isn't really smart. When ADS thing is just way better for the recoil. I should probably have brought it to show, but he's gonna have to take my word for it. But yeah, so again, this is a fun exotic. So for me, this exotic fulfills the purpose. It's not strong, but it's fun. It's memorable. It's unique, right? I can remember this. Sturm, a hand cannon. I love hand cannons. I'm very biased towards hand cannons. Hard hitting, like First Curse. The entire thing before they buffed the exotic, the entire point of this exotic was you will never have to reload essentially. Because if you get killed with Drang, you will reload Sturm. If you get killed with Sturm, you reload Drang. So an exotic where you don't have to reload, and that in and of itself sounds really good. Except that you had Lunafaction boots for Warlocks, Rally Barricade for Titans, and Dodge Roll for Hunters. So again, not being able to reload really isn't that exotic anymore. I still like it because of the way it looks and the way it sounds. And now since it's been buffed to store damage and all that stuff, it's actually pretty good. But still, Destiny 1 or Destiny 2 Year 1, very bland, very boring. Might of Multi-Tool. Again, I use it all the time on my Blade Dancer in Destiny 1. For me, it fulfilled the exotic because just how versatile and unique, like I'd say unique, but I remember the noise it makes, and I just like the extra speed it gave me. But again, in context of everything else, bland. Oh, base movement speed and third eye. Wow, so good. Right? Just a bland exotic. Vigilant Swing. A more interesting exotic, right? It's not necessarily good, but it's interesting. 5-round burst. It's pretty interesting. You can two-burst someone. And the whole entire, if someone dies near you, becomes, like, the more people are dead, the stronger it becomes. Oh, I forgot to mention that Trials of the Nine, which is Trials, like, kind of like a revamped, I say revamped, but like Trials of Osiris, Destiny 2 style, got removed for some reason. I completely forgot why they said, but they removed it, and I don't know, they might bring it back in Shadowfall. I know they're bringing back Elimination, but I don't know. But yeah, so like Vision Swing, again, it fulfills it for me. It feels exotic, right? It looks exotic. It has a weird and situational perk, but that's interesting, right? So yeah, I'd say so. So right now, and Rat King 2, again, it's exotic. It fulfills the role of an exotic, but only when you use it with other people. Other than that, it's just an item that lets you go invisible, and that's iffy. I mean, what was not No Time to Explain. Long Shadow something. There's this sniper from Destiny 1 that had the ghillie thing on it, and I though it's on the tip, like I could just barely remember it. I gotta look it up. I'm sorry, but it had the thing where if you scoped it, it went invisible. So not necessarily bad, but nothing to write home about. Let me look it up. Sorry for the long pause. I really want to remember the name. I'll be like, ah, shit, I should have known it. Current exotic weapons. Oh yeah, Plan C. Oof. Invective, yeah. Oh man, Zen Meteor, yep. Patience and Time. There you go. That exotic. How did I forget that? All right, yeah, but you know, it went made you. The point is, like, invisibility isn't necessarily bad, but if the main point of this exotic is to use it with other people, it's not really that good. Because I mean, don't get me wrong, I've seen what a six stack can do, but okay, I'm rambling at this point. But you get the point. It's not really doesn't really fulfill the role of an exotic, at least on its own. Because at least this can stand on its own, and this can kind of stand on its own, even though you have to rely on people to die. So maybe this is in the same category as this. But you know, out of these say one, yeah, like out of these five, like you honestly really like two of them feel like memorable enough for me to care about, but I still like this term. Uh, let's go to the energy weapons, and remember this was year one, so some of these exotics used to be in. Actually, I don't think any of them were in the heavy slot. Maybe I don't know. But okay, you had hard light, a returning exotic. Which fun fact, it used to have a thing where you had to go into the menu and change the elemental like weapon core to make it a different element. Oh, also that's, yeah, mods too. There's also the mod system that was trash, but they finally fixed it, or I guess finally, but it was better. I don't want to make this video too long, so I won't go in depth on that. But just listen, Destiny 2 year one is very bland and rough. I think more so than Destiny 1, because yeah, yeah. But for this exotic, you have to go in and manually select the elemental type, and on console that was a fucking nightmare. And Borealis actually had a perk called the Fundamentals where he just hold reload, and it took them, I don't know how long it took them, but it took them a while for them to finally give Hardlight this perk for some reason. So there's that. All right, and then let's see what else you have. You have okay, yeah. So Sunshower is considered one of the better exotics because again, it's explosive rounds. And when you kill people, they explode, and that explosion can chain. That actually feels exotic. You know, I remember Sunshot. Cold Heart was the first trace rifle to hold down beams. I don't think it didn't slow down people, but it did more damage the more you could hold it up or have it out. So again, interesting. Fighting Line was a complete fucking joke. Graviton Lance was alright, but the cosmology perk that caused people to explode didn't actually home in. It just basically like exploded randomly, and it wasn't that good. Skyburner's Oath was it actually got changed, so now it could track if you hit fire, but shoot slow if you aim it. So again, alright, but again, not really exotic. Risk Runner was actually pretty good exotic because you could proc it on yourself, and you can get kills back to back and refill the ammo and increase and reset the buff duration, like kind of like Zelda Super Cell or whatever. Merciless was the one that basically like the Gallahorn Destiny 2 year one. It was in the heavy slot. Yeah, this was in the heavy slot. Borealis, basically sniper hardlight. Again, one of my favorite weapons. And I just for the sake of time, most of these exotics are just they felt bland and boring. And then you had some that stood out that were actually pretty good, but most of these just felt bland and boring. Oh, bland and boring. So, and then armor pieces are even worse, because again, Knucklehead Radar, returning Destiny 1 exotic. I think it's a good weapon, good exotic, but, again, perk is meh. Celestial Nighthawk, returning exotic. Wow, it's actually pretty good and exotic, and I remember it. It's good. Foe Tracer, an original Destiny 2 exotic. Wow, marking people and buffing damage when they're, below 30%. Which was useful on raid bosses if you needed extra DPS, but again, very situational and mostly used in Crucible, along with Mida. Graviton Forfeit, a Return Destiny 2 exotic. I keep speaking too fast. But it's been repurposed so it increases invisibility by 3 extra seconds, which isn't that bad, but still, not that good. Wormhusk Crown, health regen on dodge rolling. Actually pretty good and was broken to the point that it had to be nerfed. Young Ankara Spine, the first iteration of it's trash. The second one, I guess better. Buccaneer's Trick Sleeve, I hope you like sidearms. Aeon Swift, a fucking joke. You need to have, again, like with Fracking, you have to have other people use them. But if you keep going down the list, most of these exotics are hit or miss. And I really mean most of them are misses. Most of them are really, misses. The Titan ones suck. Vesper Radius, damaging somebody, throw down they're all boring and stuff. So when you have exotics like, Skull, right, or Orpheus Rig, or Shards of Galanor, exotics that return your super, of course people are going to use them because they're not dog shit. They're actually decent at best. They're better than everything else, so might as well use it, right? Destiny 2, in Destiny 1, I used to always have this thing where I had to have an exotic weapon or exotic armor. I didn't feel right not wearing or not having all legendary stuff, But now in Destiny 2, I don't give a shit if I'm not wearing an exotic in Crucible. I don't even use exotics in Crucible. Outside of this, some case I use this just to make my trip mines better, but only because it has the same role as this. So it's basically like, why not just use this as a better version of that? But the point is, what I'm getting is that when you have such bland exotic armor that the moment you make anything decent, like people start using it, of course it's gonna be like hailed or something as the greatest thing ever. Because again, it's just boring. It's just everything. It sucks. So getting back your super it's better than getting a damaging arc rift out or whatever. So that's why people gravitated towards those exotics, and also because the added clusterfuck that is the reckoning in other areas of the game. But what I'm trying to get at is I said it again. I'll say it one more time. The exotics are bland. And honestly, even in Destiny 1, you had Obsidian Mine, which gave you back your Nova Bomb when you got killed. And I'm not sure if Obsidian Mine was the only one, but you had other exotics that gave you, like, either extended your super or gave you back part of your super. And they weren't used as much because you had other options. There's other, like, fun or good exotics that were better than just giving back your super. Which is, again, I find it funny because the way Destiny 2 feels like, it feels like it's super-centric. So, of course, getting back your super is going to be, like, the best thing ever, right? So that's why I feel like people overuse those exotics, quote unquote, or at least they're popular because again they weren't dog shit, they were decent, and again in the game mostly based around your supers. I think that's what I would gravitate towards too, right? So again, when they nerfed everything, I got pissed. Say one more last time, the Whisper nerf I feel like it's just, I understand it's an outlier. I just don't get why Bungie didn't know better either. Again, it's been in the game twice. It's been in the game twice for at least 4 years at this point. I don't know why they brought it back just to nerf it again. It just makes no sense. Because again, my argument here is why Whisper shouldn't even be an exotic is that again, not reloading your weapon, that's not really exotic anymore. Storm and Drain can do it. Again, dodge reload on hunters, lunafaction boots for warlocks, rally barrier crates for titans. Again, not reloading is not exotic anymore. That no longer counts as exotics. I also have to talk about perks too, because again, a lot of the perks are just boring as hell. None of them are interesting. And now a lot of the old perks are coming back into the menagerie, like Underdog, Eye of the Storm, and all that shit. So I gotta pay money to, get old perks back, like Grenadier and shit. But whatever. Sorry, I'm going into rant. But that's how I feel about the D2 exotics. I feel like they are always boring and bland. So the moment you make anything decent, it just falls, people just like it, and then it gets overused and then it gets nerfed, right? And even now in Season Opulence, like some of these exotics are just really, like, I saw a Cool Guy video, and I'll admit, I actually was wrong about the Caprice. Like, I actually didn't think about it in that context, at least in PvE and PvP. So, I think Caprice thing's alright, although I prefer the older variant. I keep forgetting collections in this tab. Sorry. But, like, again, all these seasons, like, it's just, like, Outbreak Perfected was a season of the Drifter one, but that's just a repurposed raid exotic. But yeah, like, Liar's Handshake was pretty good, actually. Titans, Strongholds are bad for Titans. Strongholds suck. I heard this is really good, like, Blink Shotgunning's back now because of that. Getaway Artist is pretty good. Winds of Sacred Dawn just basically give you Angel of Light. Another perk that was on the Sunsinger subclass in Destiny 1, but that's just whatever. Peregrine Geeves came back, but like again, most of these exotics, most of these exotics just feel like they're bland, and I've been harping on the same thing for like the past 10 minutes. So I'm gonna move on to the next point, and that's gonna address the whole entire Vidoc where they said we're gonna make Destiny 2 free to play, and I don't think that's a bad thing. At first I was like, oh man, give me back my money, but my friend Franco said a good point. I'm like, you play the game long enough, I think you got your money's worth, even if you didn't feel like it. I'm like, you know what, that's a point, fair point. But my issue is the way they phrased it. They said, we want people to if you have a friend, you want to introduce them to Destiny, but you feel like, oh man, you gotta buy all this DLC to play the game, which is funny because I had the exact same conversation with my friend saying, oh yeah, like you can pick up the Destiny 2 disc for like $10 at GameStop, but you're not gonna have fun with it because you actually need DLC to fucking play the game, or at least make it feel nice. So again, they said we don't want people to feel like that, right? We don't want people to feel like cut off by the DLC or whatever. And let me say this now, money isn't an issue. Spending $30 isn't that big of an issue for me anymore. But it's just the idea again. I'm paying for stuff that I used to have. Why should I pay for it again? But I just find it full of shit that they say we want people to feel like they don't have to buy the DLC. We're gonna release Shadowkeep, and I don't have any issues against Shadowkeep. I'm fine with the big yearly DLC, but we're gonna release Shadowkeep, and a year 3 annual pass for some, again, because you know, Activision was the evil bad guy and their idea, and the annual pass was their idea, right, guys? But Bungie still, I mean, it might have been, but Bungie decided to continue it, so that tells you about them. So again, they're full of shit and it's like, we don't want people to feel separated, then why have an annual pass? You know, make Shadowkeep. I don't care paying for Shadowkeep, but why make an annual pass? Why separate people even more? Full of shit. And then the Eververse store, Destiny 1, we're all joking about, like, yeah, slippery slope. It's all just skins now. But again, when Destiny 2 released and there's nothing to do and everything was bland, and all the armor, again, I'll say it again, all the armor looks ugly. Like, there's only a couple of armor sets I like, and most of them are Destiny 1 armor sets. Titans, their shoulder pieces all look fucking ugly, except for, like, the Pacific Rim. Except Pacific Rim. But the Pacific whatever one from Titan that you get from Sloan, those actually look decent because it looks slim. And it'll make it look like your Titan's wearing fucking, like, IKEA tables on his shoulders. The armor set design wasn't that great. It's pretty shitty. All the ornaments were locked behind the Eververse. So again, anything you want a cool looking weapon, you gotta pay silver for it. So again, people wanted things to do, and instead of, you know, Bungie tying ornaments to achievements or something, they said fuck it, but pay for silver. And I've already had another rant about the Eververse in that one video. But yeah, again, it was really scummy of them and really annoying. So, and then you had Pinnacle Weapons. Pinnacle Weapons, again, an interesting idea. Very interesting idea. And most of them are executed well. They're all really good. It's like that Luna's got nerfed. Also, you can kill yourself quicker, Sharon. It's like that Luna's got nerfed and all the other stuff, but whatever. It's gonna happen. But yeah, Pinnacle Weapons, I feel like they got most of them right. Like, you know, I feel like they're all good. Breakneck, Archer's Gambit or whatever, the new Archer, Hush. Wendigo looks nice. I don't have any of the new ones yet. I'm working on Revoker currently. You know, Luna's is good, Recluse is good, Mountaintop's good. All the Pinnacle weapons are good. So there's praise to be had. Because again, I always think this game has really good you know, visuals and very good sound design, very good music. So there's that. And I think that's it. Yeah, I could talk about the whole entire Crucible situation. But I'll sum it up to this. Crucible's boring as hell. Again, only technically 4 game modes because private matches are a thing now. You don't get. It's not like Destiny 1 where you can choose a playlist and then have multiple subsections of it. You know, you don't have skirmish. Skirmish isn't. You know, skirmish for some reason has been removed. Doubles is not, like, you know, not recurring. Like Crimson Doubles used to be a variant of doubles. You know, doubles used to exist before Crimson Doubles, but now you have to. It just comes up rarely. You know, Rumble used to always be available, which I think it is now. But the point is, you know, Crucible, like, I might rag on Crucible players, but I feel bad for them. Because, again, there hasn't been any new Crucible maps in over a year. Competitive is a fucking joke when it comes to balancing and stuff. Like, in a survival game mode, Heavy's going to spawn. Okay, there's no, like, the Nightfall locks your weapons, but competitive doesn't. So people can switch to Jotun or another broken weapon if they feel upset or something. So, yeah, I'm just going to get down. Like, that's all I can say. Crucible, again, for the way they justified why Destiny 2 launched the way it was to balance Crucible, I know that's a fucking lie, but they didn't do a really good job either, because everyone's using Uriel's gift and team shotting, so. With that, I guess that really is my final rant with Destiny 2, or at least my final official rant. Maybe I'll be like Game Theory and release 18 fucking final FNAF theories or whatever. But yeah, thanks for watching and listening to me ramble for like the past, like, I don't know, an hour or something. And yeah, I hope that you enjoyed Destiny 2. Maybe, again, I'm just some weird fucking retard on the internet that takes this game too seriously because he acts like it's all, like, you know, it really is my childhood, though. I started playing this game in 2014, and spoiler alert, I was 14 back then, so I was in middle school when I first started playing this game, and it's been 5 years later, graduated high school and college, and I still play this game, so I've grown attached to it, if you could say it like that. So I hate to see it like this. But honestly, at this point, like, you can only batter the fan base. At least I feel like you can only do so much shit before I can be like, fuck it, I'm done. And I really was gonna buy Shadowkeep. I really was. I was really like, you know what? I'll shut up, buy it, and they'll restore my faith and everything fine. And then I saw a year 3 annual pass, and I said, oh fucking crap, here we go again. And I'll say it one more time. I don't care if you reuse assets. I don't care if you bring back exotics. Don't make me pay for something I already have in the first place. That's all I hate about Destiny. Destiny's problem is you either pay for shit that should be in the game from the beginning, you pay for shit that you already have, like the Menagerie Drang and My Mini Tool can have random rolls now, and that makes them objectively better than the year one versions. So again, they're basically making you pay for better versions of weapons you already have. I'm not saying all the season passes content was terrible. I heard good things from the Menagerie. I enjoyed the Menagerie. People like the Reckoning. Some people like Gambit Prime. Never liked Gambit in general, so of course I probably wouldn't like Gambit Prime. But again, if I felt like would I get my money's worth out of it, I honestly I feel like I wouldn't, because I'd only like the Menagerie and that's about it. Maybe a little bit of Black Armory. But yeah, that's all I can say. Destiny's issue is just that you basically pay for bare bone experiences, and then the moment they do something above, it's like this. You settle. We've been living with mediocrity. So the moment they do something average or slightly above, dog shit, we sing their praises. The wolves go right back over our eyes, and we're none the wiser to the antics that they're doing at the studio. Right? Everyone's happy. People are praising Bungie and all this shit. And maybe I'm just a cynical asshole. Fucking, I don't know what it caused me to be a fucking cynical asshole. But I feel like Destiny 2 has made way too many mistakes, and I've given it way too many chances at this point to, you know, to warrant buying Shadowkeep. And hey, who knows? Maybe I'm a fucking hypocrite, which I know I am. Let's say when the Shadowkeep comes out, like 2 months later from now, you'll see me playing Shadowkeep and uploading my first time playing Shadowkeep, whatever. Who fucking knows, right? But that's it. I'm officially, I guess I'm done with the game series. I'll still play Destiny 2 Forsaken. I don't probably won't play much longer after Shadowkeep launches because there's really nothing to do. Like, I guess the Dreaming City is the only thing to do. But I should really wrap this up now. But yeah, again, thanks for watching. If you still like Destiny, good for you. Again, I'm not hating on anyone who hates Destiny. I'm just annoyed that I'm just more angry at the studio itself trying to paint itself as this innocent, angel that did nothing wrong, that didn't do nothing. Yeah, so, bye.